Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be bringing our review for a movie we just watched. And that is a Shudder original called Hunted. This was from 2020. And it's 87 minutes long. Nobody I know in the cast.
I will say it felt longer than 87 minutes.
Yeah, felt longer than 87 minutes.
In a bad way.
Shudder. I think from now on, we're going to be watching Shudder movies on Shudder before we buy them. Because the only one that's really been a hit for us was Superhost. Yeah, I assume it's Super something.
Yeah, Superhost.
I'm about to say Super Bad, but that's a comedy movie. Superhost.
And Host.
And Host. Both hosts.
Yeah.
One's a host, one's
I
a
think
superhost.
that's it.
This movie.
But we've not watched that new Shark one yet, so.
But I don't like a Shudder original or anything.
No, but it's not Shudder original, so it just comes on. It's on Shudder, but.
Yeah. Heard good things about this one though, and that's why we got it. Our friend said he had fun with it. It wasn't great, but he had fun with it, so we figured give it a shot. It was cheap. Did not care for this movie at all.
I didn't either.
As she said, it felt longer than 87 minutes. The main girl didn't really do anything to impress me for defending herself. She didn't necessarily kill. I mean, she killed the main guy, but she mostly just ran away for most of the movie.
Okay, let me say something first before you go on. I will say we are huge horror thriller fans. So we own a lot of horror movies.
Used to own a lot more, but
used to own a whole lot more. But I will say that you might, big maybe, but you might be okay with this if you're looking just to shut your mind off. But if you're looking from a critic standpoint, like we usually do with horror movies because we've watched so many, so now we analyze a lot of what goes on, you won't enjoy it.
Unless it's something we really like Halloween or something.
Well, yeah, something like that. But in general, you're not going to, I personally don't think you would enjoy this movie if you're going off a critic standpoint for a horror movie.
No, our main girl, she doesn't really do a whole lot. She was running away most of the movie. Our bad guy is very mentally messed up, and they try
He's unstable.
They portray that in different ways throughout the movie. There's a scene where he kills this woman. She's been dead for a while. He ends up electrocuting her, like shocking her about her corpse. She has an arrow sticking through her head, and he shocks her body. Her corpse has been laying there for hours, I would say. Mm-hmm. And somehow the woman comes back alive. And
yeah, I don't know how that would have been possible.
No, it wouldn't have. There's no way. She was dead for way too long. Just a taser shock wouldn't have brought her back.
Just because of alone where the arrow was, there's no way.
But she comes back alive to give her son the arrow from her head, and he ends up shooting the guy with an arrow through the shoulder, and that whole scene was just dumb. I didn't like it. The acting was okay. I thought the girl did alright. She tried to act like she was kind of losing her own mind and going kind of animalistic at times towards the end. There's like a whole... It did have a couple funny moments. Probably not meant to be funny, but they were funny. There's a scene where she's like yelling out of like anger and stuff, and he's like yelling back at her. I thought we both kind of laughed at that because we just thought that was so dumb. It was so dumb. It was funny. And then they continue fighting. Like the chase and the fight just felt like it took forever. I think that's why it made it feel so long, is because it felt like it just took forever.
It did.
And they end up back in this town where I guess it's like an up and coming house property. What's those called? Cul-de-sac kind of areas. And they end up running into this security guard, and he thinks the woman's trying to kill the mate. Well, she is, but he thinks the woman's the bad guy in the whole situation when she's actually trying to defend herself from the bad guy. She gets maced by the security guard, and then the bad guy actually hits the cop with something. I don't even know what it was.
It's like some kind of rake type thing.
And busts his nose. This movie had a fascination with breaking noses.
Yeah, that was like the second or third time that they broke a nose.
And they end up running into this house at the end that this guy's trying to show, which we laughed at that part because he's trying to show this couple the house and try to talk about raising kids, and you got this woman with blue paint on her face because she got hit with the paintball, because these guys were having a random paintball fight in the middle of them trying to kill each other, which made no sense. And
it also made no sense how no one noticed she was carrying a bat with nails coming out of it, swinging at the other guy.
No, it wasn't nails. It was just pieces of stick coming out of each side.
It had stuff coming out of it,
or that he had a box knife going.
Yeah, and no one seemed to care. They just carried on about their day.
Yeah, and they hit her in the forehead with the blue paintball, and she just wipes it down her face like war paint, and continues chasing off after him. And I'm just like, what? But yeah.
Paintballs hurt, by the way. If you've never been hit by one, that hurt.
But they fight in the house. She's like throwing dishes at him and hits him with the drawer. And somehow, I don't even remember how, but she gets him down and she ends up pretty much just choking him to death. And I'm like, that's it? Like.
And I think part of the problem also was it felt a whole lot longer because we weren't getting anywhere for most of the movie. They were just running, like chasing after each other, and so all it showed was mainly them running through the woods the whole time. And it's not like a found footage film, so you don't have that suspense carrying the found footage everywhere. So it's like nothing.
Yeah, it wasn't good. And they was trying to do this whole Red Riding Hood, Big Bad Wolf thing, like where like the forest was sort of helping her, because the reason the guys wrecked their car was because this pig ran out in front of the road on purpose and like sacrificed himself to make the car wreck. And then there's a scene where like a deer comes up and lays down on the ground and lets her sleep on him for a little bit. And
which obviously would never happen.
Yeah, and then like a crow, I think, or a raven. Crow flew and attacked the bad guy to let the girl get away. So they were kind of doing some like metaphorical kind of weird stuff like that.
Sort of like artsy in a way.
Yeah, and
which is fine.
Yeah,
I
shouldn't say weird, but
it didn't really work.
Yeah, it didn't. It just was. The way they did it just wasn't making sense, I guess is the best way to put it. To me, it just wasn't making sense. Not that it was weird, but it just wasn't making sense. So, I gave this a 1 out of 5 because of the couple times we laughed, and then because of the cinematography. I think the shots they had were great. There's several shots where you could tell whoever had the camera knew the right angles and stuff. So I gave it credit for the cinematography. I gave it credit for a couple of times it made us laugh. And
I gave it a 0.5 out of 5. And that was simply just for the fact that the movie was shot very well with the really good scenes of the woods. But besides that, I didn't care nothing about it.
No, it got to the point where I was kind of checking out towards the end, which is probably why I don't remember how she took the guy down, because I was kind of checking out a lot at the end, but not. I mean, we was watching it, but it was like we
were dreading it at the same time, so we were like sort of on our phone on and off throughout it.
Yeah, it wasn't a good one. Didn't care for it at all.
We watched it enough to where we could do an honest review for it, but
we watched it all the way through, and
I
paid attention to plenty in it. It's just there at the end, especially when we got to them in the house, I kind of checked out a lot because I knew it was at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say don't buy this movie. I would say if you want to see it, watch it on Shudder if you have Shudder. If you don't have Shudder, don't worry about it. You're not missing anything.
Did we order that?
Yeah.
I thought we ordered it. And a lot of Shudder ones recently for us have been duds, so we'll probably just start watching them first before we buy them. Shudder used to be better, in my opinion, for what little stuff we did watch. But it just seems like lately they've been putting out a lot of just random bad stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice that these companies, these directors get a chance.
Yeah. Because there's always a cult following with these types of movies.
Yeah, there's always a following for them. We're not part of the following for this movie. It just wasn't for us. So, and it's unfortunate, but like I said, from now on, we're going to start watching the stuff on Shudder first. And then if we like it, buying it. I know we're going to get Superhost if it comes to physical, which hopefully it does.
We will be getting that on Blu-ray if it comes to Blu-ray.
So, but this is another one off the shelf, so another one out of the collection. We'll trade into the bookstore or somewhere, get some kind of credit or something for it. And yeah, I think that's all I got to say for this one. Anything else you want to say on this one? Oh, it does have, I will say, as just like a little warning, it does have hints of rape in this.
I was getting ready to say something about that. Yeah, this was also hard for me to watch. Because I was always on edge. Because there's multiple points throughout the movie where it references them getting ready to rape her.
Or somebody, because in that video.
Or somebody, yeah. So I was always on edge trying to decide whether or not I should actually look away or whether or not I should, because I can't watch that type of stuff. So if you're sensitive to that, then just be aware. It doesn't actually show anything, but it may make you very tense.
Yeah, it does reference it quite a bit and has some pretty intense, intense word usage in there. Yeah. So, but I think that's everything now. Is that everything? Did we forget anything? Missing anything?
The guy's partner in crime, if you want to call it. He was such a wuss. He was such a baby.
Yeah, it didn't really make sense. And we don't really know how they know each other.
No.
They don't really explain.
We know they're not family. We know that. They clarified that.
Yeah, because she says something about him being his brother, and he said, I'm not his brother. But they never really clarify how they know each other.
Because there's a point in the movie, actually towards the beginning, where it references where he could possibly be gay in a way, but then also the other guy doesn't seem like he's, you know what I mean? He just doesn't.
They even kiss in the movie.
They even kiss. But then at other times it seems like they're straight, so I don't know what was going on, but yeah, that's just.
And that's why they wreck, because they kiss each other. He forces him to kiss him because he wants to prove that he loves him. But
for some odd reason.
Then they wreck because they hit the pig. So, I don't know. This movie is just weird.
It didn't make sense.
No. So, But I think that is everything now.
Yeah.
So please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified for our videos, and we'll see you on the next one.